As our next presenter, I wanted to invite Sija, who has been working for more than 12 years into different BNSP activities. Currently, she is employed with TCS for the last 5 years, right? And prior to that, she has worked with the companies like Sanios Health or Cognizant Technology Solutions, right? She is primarily focused into processes or delivered as more of the statistical programming activity. She has been leading those efforts. As well as she is not only a delivery manager but also a subject matter expert into her current role, right? So Sija is joined by her fellow team members as well. So I'll hand it over to Sija so that she can introduce her fellow members as well and then start with the presentation. Sija.
Good. Thank you so much, Abhay. Thank you for the introduction. So, hi everyone. I would also like to just briefly touch base on my colleagues. I have this project, the presentation that I'm doing today, it is about generating TLF with a next-gen solution. Okay, with respect to a linked metadata model. How do we go about it, right? So this project is something that we are currently doing. Rather, it's almost concluded. It was done under the leadership of Tushar Saktwal. Along with, I was involved in supporting from the domain perspective.
Sure. Doing that. Hello? In between, if you can hear me, let me know.
Yes, I can. I guess you can hear you. Can you be on mute?
I got. Yeah. Fine. Yeah. I'll mute. Sorry. Yeah.
Yeah. No worries. Yes, Sija.
Okay. Yeah, so just to introduce, so this project is almost near completion. It's rather almost concluded. So this project was this project was led by Tushar Saktwal. I was involved from a domain perspective in submitting the information, the scenarios that was required from a DSP perspective or more from a TLF perspective. And Nazifa was involved in, she was a liaison between converting this domain information to the semantic model, okay? Graphical database model, how to get it executed along with a Neo4j expert. Ajay Yola is involved in refining the whole model and in seeing through the whole conclusion of this project. Okay, so those are the teammates that were a part of this whole solution. Okay. So what I've done is I've divided the whole process into today how we are conducting our TLF, the way it is being done as of today, the kind of industry ask which is present, okay, if at all what is available, and how we went about our solution and the key takeaways with it. So currently, depending on which company you work with, you might have some kind of either a standard programs or you might have some kind of a ETL-based tool, okay? Using those set of standard program wherein you pass in your information, you're getting your reports out, you're getting your TLFs out. A lot of time is still spent by the senior programmers for double programming, data resolution, etc. A lot of time gets spent on these processes. Okay. However, we have the industry has been looking at solution of how best can we take it forward, right? So we have moved on from your client standards to we have established CDIS standards. It's done and dusted now. We have therapeutic area specific standard also available. However, we are still doing the programming the way it was done originally. Okay, it's the same process. Now, how do we move on to the next generation, or how do we take it forward, basically? The ask for a very long time has been end-to-end automation. How do we go about end-to-end automation? Can we reduce the manual intervention? Can it be possible that it be machine readable? Since we have the standards in place, can we make it machine readable? Can we link the data? Or rather, in short, can we establish lineage between the data? Okay. So what lineage means is data traversing from your site to your CSR. You see the flow of the data, right? It is all interlinked. In addition to that, is it even possible? Is it even possible to reduce the cycle time that we see today? If we were to establish lineage, if we were to plug in the programs that we have today in itself, can we establish a real-time data availability? What it essentially means is Say, for example, there is a parameter, a lab parameter for a result data. If a decimal is missing, you can see this if you have the real-time data availability. You can see this completely off data within your TLF, right? It will be clearly, distinctly visible in your figure. So if at all it gets updated here, a downstream automation is very much feasible. So lineage, real-time data availability, and once you have something available for your standard information, you try and build a sustainable model. What it essentially means is we were speaking about R, we were speaking about Python. The data in itself is changing so much, right? You have real-world evidence, biomarker data, etc. You build in a solution today which can then be sustainable, which can rather source in other information, and it can be easily be plugged in, okay? Now, this has been the ask for a long time now. So do we have any kind of solution in place, okay? And how exactly is CDISC placed over here? So CDISC in itself has been working on multiple automation solution. Will come to it. The primary one with respect to an end-to-end solution that you already have something existing, okay, it's being worked upon is CDISC 360. So this is my interpretation of CDISC 360, learning from their slides, from attending their session which was conducted back in April. So the idea with CDISC 360 is that a seamless end-to-end solution, okay? So your data coming in, you have your predefined templates, you have your standards in place already now. So this end-to-end automation will start from protocol to CSR. So once you have your predefined protocol in place, you know what kind of therapeutic area you're working with, you know the indication, you know the endpoint that and the analysis that is being done, right? So this are already captured and standard information is available. So click, click, click. Basically, you have your protocol in place, you have your metadata in place, you have your programs in place. Once you have this plugged in all together, you should be able to generate for a specific study. You should have your protocol, SAP, mock shell, data, CSR, everything ready at one go. Okay. So this is what we are basically exploring. It is all machine readable. It is okay, and it is being divided. The whole process was divided in 6 work streams. So the first work stream with any solution, the first work stream was, I'm sorry if you cannot see it much clearly, I'll speak it out. So the work stream 1 was more towards establishing or rather coming up with the concept in itself. What would be required, what needs to be developed, and how your process or your data is going to flow through the whole process. Okay, so work stream 1 was to establish the concept in itself. Your work stream 2 was to read those standards as a machine readable format. So once your machine has read this information, you would need to then interpret, right? The machine has read the information, but then the machine needs to understand, interpret, what do I do with this data? So that is where your semantic modeling comes in. You're building linkages, you're building relationship amongst data, and the machine itself is learning how your data is connected to each other and how it is going to travel further, right? Work stream 4 is with the aspect of establishing metadata models for your ADAM, developing your SAP, your mock shells, metadata for the SDTM dataset itself, ADAM dataset itself. Okay? And work stream 5 comes in with utilizing this information. Your dataset, your SDTM is being generated, your ADAM is being generated. Work stream 6 is where this whole process comes in cohesively and your solution is getting together to build the study-specific information. So something is already being worked upon. You have something in place already. Now, when we started a little before when we had CDISC 360 available to us. However, this kind of paved way for us to solution it. The next slide, the slide which just came up, CDISC 360 analysis result was one of the focus point, rather helped us building our solution in itself. Okay. So the idea is with this particular slide that you see is now the data is coming from ADAM. Your ADAM is being sourced to information requested for. So if you see this particular point here, you have to generate a particular table, okay, 4.2.1. If you have to generate this particular table, what is the kind of analysis that is being done? Now, this is an analysis wherein you're using proc mixed, okay, your MMR and repeated measurements are being done. So you need to provide what is a where clause, what is the parameter that it is going in. You need to know what procedure you'll be using. You need to know the model statement, your input data set. So this is all graphically connected, okay, graphically connected, one information, but multiple dependencies and interdependencies getting captured here, and in creating a one report, sourcing that ADaM data set to create one specific report. So this is how it was, rather the framework worked like. Okay, now this became one of the critical points for us as well in building our solution. So what exactly were we looking at, okay, as TCS, what were our requirements? Now I have, we have something available with CDIS. This is being worked upon, no doubt. For us, our area of interest was your TLF data, okay, your results data. So you do have SDTM ADaMs in place. Now for any given study, you can source this information, you can think of automating. However, for any study, at least 20% of the TLFs, I would say, is very unique either to the specific to the study, or it could be non-standard layout. So you might be able to source the information directly from your ADaM. However, still you need to have some kind of plugins to build a sustainable model wherein if you were to do something specific to your study, that in itself should be available to conclude this whole end-to-end process, okay? Basically, model your results data. So that is where our scope of work started. Now, if you have to build a whole sustainable model, you have to factor in your lineages, traceability factors, etc. So the framework that we came up with was, you need to understand what all information needs to go within a TLF. We'll come to it, what all goes into that. So your TLF data, you need to model your TLF data in such a way, you need to, so that this gets absorbed by a graphical database. And then this is being sourced, okay? This is being sourced by a reporting tool, so that your reporting is, your RTF, your PDF, your output is generated the way you require. Now, why do all this, right? So graphical database, like we said, it is in establishing lineage or linked information. That is where your graphical database, the core feature comes in, okay? So with respect to TLF data, in the first place, what all you need to give into the TLF data? If you have to establish the whole process, one is your, right, starting from protocol, you would need some kind of data collection information. Coming down to SAP, you would need information like which therapeutic area, which indication, the kind of endpoints that you're working with, the kind of analysis that is being done, if at all there are any kind of imputation rules, right, that information would be required. Coming to actual core TLF, then you would need to understand the data that is coming in. You would need to model the data in a certain way. Okay, now this would involve, when you are working with a table, listing, or a figure, you obviously have your where clauses. You need to know which are the parameters that is being utilized. You need to know the title. You need to know the footnotes. You need to understand what is the population flag. You also need to have your display content in place. Okay, so many information that needs to be modeled in. So that is your core information coming in from TLF. It needs to be, you would first need to model it so that the machine will understand how they are interlinked. How can I source it? How can I link it back to an SDTM? How can I link it back to an ADaM? Okay, that would have to be trained. So graphical database, you would need to model this information to create a linked information. Okay, why specifically Neo4j now? So Neo4j is one of the best graphical database. This is available in market. Okay, two, it is TCS and Neo4j are alliance partners. 3, it is being utilized across different verticals within TCS. So this is something that we are exploring extensively. Okay. 3rd is you will have to build in your connector from a connector which will source the information graphical database, and then you report it out. Okay, it could be in the form of RTF PDF, the way a programmer requires it. The beauty of this whole solution is that it can be accessed by other stakeholders also, right? So if your statistician doesn't wish to create an output altogether, but needs to explore the data, kind of do an exploratory analysis. He can just go, he can fetch the data, create, whatever analysis needs to be done. If he wishes to create a report out of it, he can do that. If not, he can just, just source the data, create an Excel out of it as well. Okay, so that functionality is being built. Now, this was the framework that we were looking at. Now, before we move on to the solution in itself, where do you exactly begin? Right? What was available, what had to be developed. With respect to CDIS, now CDIS has been working on a lot of automation opportunities for a very long time. There were a lot of reference points for us. One is your bridge model. Okay, the end goal is something completely different. It is more to do with your pharmacogenetics, HL7 data. However, it is a linked metadata model. Okay, completely machine readable, and you have the linked information. Good starting point. That is where we started. You have RDF information, okay, RDF files. These were available. These were developed by Fuse. CDIS and Fuse together, I think from back in 2014-15. Now, what are these, right? These are graphical, machine-readable information. However, the data is further divided into cubes and slices, okay? So the data gets divided into its granularity level, how they are related, to its granularity level. It's a little complex structure to understand, but this user guide, the reference guide is all available within CDIS, okay, within CDIS portal itself. In addition to those, okay, so we have now SDTM ADAM standards, you have your machine readable formats, something is available. And then came in your analysis results model. Now, analysis result model, again, is more of an extension of define XML file, okay? So you could create your result, and then it gets transformed into your define. Now, that helped us with programming of, the clauses, where clauses that you require, how do you capture those kind of information? That was one of the reference points as well. So these are already available. What was not available was your result data in itself. There was nothing available how to go about structuring your results data, okay? So that is where we had to develop, resource all this information, learn all those information, structure it in a certain way that it can be utilized and it can be sustainable eventually, okay? It can go and fit into a bigger picture. So establish the model, pull it to the graphical database, link it within a graphical database, source it by a reporting tool, and eventually print it out, okay? That was the idea. Now, I just have the data structure, right? I spoke about the initial slide. I spoke about what all component goes in for an analysis result. So this is how the slide that you see currently, this is how we have divided it up, or rather categorized it, okay? So table listings and figures. Figures, it's an ongoing thing. So figures, you have a different level of complexity altogether, right? So data remains similar to your table, almost same as your table. However, your representational, your tool that would be required would be completely different, right? So that is, it's an ongoing thing. For the time being, we have parked it. You have a solution available for table and listing. Listing, you can source the ADAM as is, and it can be printed, okay? Coming down to table, the idea is for every table, okay, the broader category of table, you will have different set of unique layouts, right? When you're creating a table in itself, you have, say for example, adverse event, okay? So adverse event, you would have, at the minimum, you would have an overall summary. You would have, boxes by SOC by boxes. You would have your maximum severity, your relationship severity, etc. Those kind of tables. Different unique layout, okay? So the data would have to be modeled accordingly. But however, even if your unique layouts are different with respect to data, it can be categorized into core, contextual, and display, right? Now, core could be your summary statistics. It is going to be a summary statistic. It's going to be your frequency. It is going to be your, statistical model, information coming from a statistical model, irrespective of the layouts that you have. The data that you get out, the data that comes out of those procedures are kind of limited, right? So those form our core component. Contextual is how you, what your, the information which is available to create that particular layout. So we spoke of your where clauses, you spoke of the procedures that you're using, your title, footnotes, etc. Okay, those are contextual. Then you also have your display components. When you say the display components, so if you take a demographic layout now, right? So demographic, you can have either your mean and SDs are put together within bracket. You could have mean, comma, max. You could have mean, colon, max, or it could be separate. Display layout, display components also had to be taken care of. So that formed the basis for a display categorization. Okay, so the data in itself was structured this way. Now, I have one snippet of just how the data will flow from. So when you're using your ADSL data, say for example, if you're looking at age units. Now, age unit is a variable within ADSL. You have the code list attached to it. This is the way the data flows, right? Now, ADSL and ADA itself are interconnected, isn't it? You have the same set of subset of subjects, which will be a part of your ADA data set. Your race would be again available. Your sex again would be available in your ADA variable. So data are interconnected and across the data set and within the data set. Okay. So that is where a model was built. Okay. And I'm very sorry for the resolutions of this layout, but this is an output that looks, that is from a Neo4j output. So what you see as of now is the model flow. What it essentially means is your hierarchical structure. So the folder structure, so you have a therapeutic area, within your therapeutic area, you will have different indications. Within indication, you would have different compounds. Within compounds, you would have submissions. Within submissions, you would have your data, your ADSL, your SDTMs, your TLF data, right? So this is the hierarchical structure, all interconnected within itself across different common factors. Okay, so what I mean is within a compound, you will be able to source an information. Across the compound, you will be able to source an information. Okay, and how your Neo4j works, what you see is like a bubble structure. It's called as a node. You click on it, it keeps breaking down into its different components. Okay, so this is my folder structure. Imagine for a therapeutic area, you have a ADSL now present, right? For a certain submission, you have a ADSL present. So this is how the metadata of ADSL looks like. So at its core, you have this data set, main data set. This is my metadata structure now. Every possible variable coming in from IG for ADSL is available over here. Okay, so every the bubble that you see, the node that you see, it is your variable. So U subject ID, race, sex, okay, BMI, BMI BL, height BL, etc. Those kind of variables are available. If you were to click on this information, now that you see here, right, ADA looks standalone orphan variable. However, if you were to click on one of the components, you will see how common factors are interconnected. So your data set in itself is interconnected now. Okay, this is a metadata layer. Say, for example, now you click on race variable. Okay, so you see this is the ADSL data set. This is the code list layer attached with it. So you will have information, or rather the properties pertaining to each element available within the graphical database. So for if you were to say now race, what is the length, what is the label, what are the code list values attached to it, what values it can take. Okay, is it a permissible variable? Is it a required variable? All information is available within your schema. That metadata layer is already present. So once your data is in, it is going to get superimposed over it, and you will be able to see whatever is required or whatever is study specific, that information would be available to you within that graphical database. So when you look at race, you see all possible code list value attached to it. Okay. Then you have the results. Now you have we spoke of ADSL. Now the next layer, when the results coming in. So we have already categorized them. This is your core components, your display components, contextual components, etc. So if you look at this graph, what it does is, this is a compound. This you see is for this compound, you have different submissions. Okay. I understand it's not very clear. I'll just explain it to you. So these are the components. So when you keep clicking on it, you will see, ADSL data set. Now with an ADSL, you will have, say, 2 layouts attached with it. Okay, demographic, probably if you have a baseline characteristic table is separate, then you would see 2 different nodes attached with it. You click on it further, you will see the display component, etc., etc. Okay, so this is how the schema is built. Now, graphical database, it's an backend process. Okay, it's a backend database in itself. You won't be using this as is, right? It is how your data is being sourced, how your linked information is being sourced. So if I wish to understand an analysis which was done, okay, an efficacy analysis, let's take an efficacy analysis. We already spoke of MMRM, right? So if I have an MMRM, if it has been utilized across the compound, I should still be able to source all of those, okay? That is the beauty of your graphical database. Not only within your study, across the compound, it all depends how you build your relationship. The idea is that there is no basically limit. Okay? Now, this is the basic TLF layout that came in from sourcing your information from your graphical database. This is a Tableau report that you see for Adam. This is one of the basic reports that you can see. Almost similar to the structure, doesn't meet the way we created today. However, our interest area was more from the graphical database, and this can be fine-tuned. Okay? It can be fine-tuned, and we can get a lot closer to the image that we have today. The RTFs and the PDFs that we create, we can get a closer, but not exact. Okay? So now you have this solution in here. Unfortunately, given the fact that it's an internal product, we wish to showcase a video. We couldn't do that. You have to see a video of Neo4j output to understand the beauty of the interconnected or the linked information. Okay, completely broadens, and rather I would say completely changes your perspective of data. Okay, I would recommend taking a look at your graphical database data once. Now, you have this in place. How do we go about? I'm sorry, I think I just have 5 minutes, so I'll try and club two slides together in with the constraints of time. You have solution available now, right? So we also started with a pilot. Now, if you want to build this up, okay, once you have a solution in place, basically sky is the limit, okay? You not only will be able to access information across the length and breadth of the database, okay? You should be able to get a different perspective or a wider perspective to the analysis, a wider perspective to the research in itself, I would say. You would have some kind of trend analysis probably you never thought of. That is a feasibility, that is a possibility. You can also think of a situation wherein you might be able to build in adaptive clinical designs, right? So it's just not limited just to creating a TLF. It is understanding the data at its core, sourcing whatever your information can come in from. Now, this is from an analysis perspective, right? Now, it can be extended to taking up your once your CD 360 is in place. You should be able to link or rather make a cohesive process altogether. It is end-to-end, okay? It is AI/ML, can be built as an AI/ML based, okay? Now, the problem with AI/ML based is it works on probabilities, okay? So the system would have to be educated, the system would have to be trained to get the kind of accurate results that we develop, okay, by double programming, etc. But then it is going to cut short on your cycle time. It is going to cut short on your issue resolution time. In general, it is going to reduce your process, okay? So basically, sky is the limit. I would say basically the sky is the limit when it comes to graphical database. And it is very easy to use. It can be accessed by your clinician if at all you wish to. You can provide access. Your clinician should be able to access this data directly. Your medical writer should be able to access this data directly. You wouldn't have to work on some ad hoc report very specific to their requirement, right? Something that they can access all by themselves, okay? So this is where your graphical database becomes such an important and critical factor, and this is basically the future, okay? Not with respect to clinical data, it is with respect to data, period. Your data in itself is going to be accessed or assessed keeping these features in mind, okay? Graphical database. So something which look up to 5 years down, let me not put a figure, few years down the line, it is going to be a reality. CDESC is already thinking about We have some kind of solution in place. Pharma company has been thinking along it all along. Okay, so this is what I had. So this is what concludes our presentation. I'm open to any questions if at all you have. So over to you.
Thanks. Yeah. Okay. Thanks a lot, Sujay. Yeah, there are a couple of questions to you. Maybe we'll take only one question, Sija, because in interest of time. May I know what KPIs you are using to measure the return on investment?
Okay. Very critical question. I think I'll have to get back to you, but then see, your time is reduced. Okay, one factor is your time is completely going to be reduced. Your it's a pilot. It is still being analyzed for sustainability and I would say overall scalability. So it's being assessed. So probably not the right time, but yeah, let me get back to you. Checking with Tushar, I think he'll have a better answer for this. Yeah.